Hi guys, Dr. Rajaratna here. Today's one topic a day is on the most dreaded topic, nystagmus. Now let's start with the discussion. I had already given you 5 questions for today on nystagmus. So let's go about with the first question. Nystagmus is defined by which component? In the previous nystagmus video that I had done on optokinetic nystagmus, I had already told you that it is the fast corrective component that decides the name of the nystagmus, especially when we are talking about jerk nystagmus. Okay, so when we talk about jerk nystagmus, it is the corrective quick component that decides. So it's the fast component which decides the name of the nystagmus. All right, so it's a very simple question if you had watched that video. Now number 2, vertical nystagmus is due to lesion of which part of the brain stem? Medulla, midbrain or pons. It's most commonly the medulla. Okay, it's most commonly the medulla. Now when we talk about vertical nystagmus, okay, so when we say vertical nystagmus, it could be of 2 types. It could be upbeat or downbeat. Now, the one due to midbrain lesions and especially the medullary lesions, it's usually the upbeat. Okay, that's the most common cause of upbeat nystagmus. Now, downbeat nystagmus is mostly due to cerebellar lesions. Okay, cerebellar lesions cause a downbeat nystagmus. Now, your brain stem typically or most commonly the medullary lesions cause an upbeat nystagmus. Is that clear? So these are MCQs for you. All right, additional things. Now, which type of nystagmus is seen in Wernicke's encephalopathy? That is question number 3. You get upbeat nystagmus. So please remember, in today's video, we are talking only about upbeat. So this is upbeat nystagmus. All right. Now let's take a look at this nystagmus where the patient had a history of encephalitis involving the brainstem, predominantly involving the medulla. Okay, predominantly involving the medulla. So can you see the quick component moving up, moving the eye up? Watch again. Are you able to notice this? Did you observe? So I'm telling you again, let's watch it again. So you can very well see that this is not a horizontal nystagmus. This is a vertical nystagmus with the quick component going up. So upbeat nystagmus. Now let's see question number 4. Pendular seesaw nystagmus is seen in lesion of. See, seesaw nystagmus and that too pendular seesaw nystagmus is typically seen in lesion of the optic chiasma. Or in other words, in lesion of the paracellular region. So in and around the sella turcica, when you have lesions, you get to see this pendular seesaw nystagmus. So what is this seesaw nystagmus? Now let me demonstrate this pendular seesaw nystagmus for you. So what happens is, now one eye goes up and the other eye goes down. Now the eye that goes up intorts and the eye that goes down extorts. Okay, and then the reverse thing happens. So this comes down and extorts and this goes up and intorts. So do you see that? So it is like this and then it goes like this, it goes like this, you know, like a seesaw. All of you must have played on a seesaw, no? Up and down, up and down. So the same thing is happening. So up, intorsion, down, extorsion. Then this goes down, extorsion, intorsion. So this happens kind of simultaneously. All right. So So this is seesaw nystagmus seen in paracellular lesions. So typically when you see in a child, you should always suspect craniopharyngioma. Okay, when you see some kind of this pendular seesaw nystagmus, you should always suspect craniopharyngioma. And in an adult, patient might also have some lesions of the chiasma, some pituitary lesions or something, and will have visual field defects. Now, if it's a very small child, you may not be able to elicit that visual field defect. But yes, if it's a craniopharyngioma, just for theory's sake, we're going to revise what kind of visual field will you have, because craniopharyngioma is going to hit from above, right? So from above means you'll get an inferior field defect. And to start with, you'll get an inferior quadrant anopia, bitemporal inferior quadrant anopia, and later it can become a bitemporal hemianopia. Is that clear? All right. Now that you've seen pendular seesaw nystagmus, we'll move on to question number 5. So question number 5 is about opsoclonus. So opsoclonus may be a paraneoplastic symptom in infants. Now the question is, what is the investigation for diagnosing the underlying condition? So opsoclonus is actually an involuntary eye movement which is not typically classified under nystagmus. It's an involuntary eye movement in random directions and it's seen in neuroblastoma. Okay, it's seen in neuroblastoma, and all of you know that neuroblastoma most commonly occurs in the adrenal medulla, okay, the cells that are derived from the neural crest cells. So occurs most commonly in the adrenal medulla. So the investigation for diagnosing this underlying condition would be best is a contrast enhanced CT of the abdomen. Okay, so that is supposedly the best for diagnosis, followed by of course the MRI, but considering it's an infant, a CT is practically more useful than MRI. It's more practical, right? So now we will take a look at this rapid involuntary multidirectional movement that characterizes opsoclonus. Can you see that? Do you see that? So this is about the various questions, important questions, high yield questions for you in that dreaded topic nystagmus. It's not that difficult. It's easy. In fact, if you're observing very well, it's very, very easy. So let's go over it again. Nystagmus is defined by its fast component. Vertical nystagmus is mainly due to lesion of the medulla. In vernix encephalopathy, we see an upbeat type of nystagmus, pendular seesaw nystagmus, chiasmal lesion, and always suspect a craniopharyngioma if you're looking at in a child. Opsoclonus in a child, do a CECT abdomen to pick up a neuroblastoma of especially the adrenal medulla. Okay guys, I want your feedback on what should be the next difficult topic that you want me to discuss. So we will go through in the form of MCQs as we've been doing, so that it's always useful for you from an exam point of view also. So you can reach out to me through various options, and also you can just put it down in the comment section below this video what topic you find very difficult that we will do as part of this one topic a day series. Thank you guys. God bless you all.